today, Donnie T and Putin met up in Alaska, the sacred middle ground between Russia and America. There's a couple funny things I want to say about this. First, this is supposed to be the big meeting to get the ball moving on a ceasefire between Ukraine and Russia. The idea is that Trump is going to use his and the United States' leverage to finally get Putin to agree to a ceasefire. That was today. And what's funny to me is if you go back in time, I couldn't tell you when this changed because this is not just a Trump thing, but back in the day, meetings like this would be days or weeks long. They would have the whole team from both sides go to the same area for a long time and hash details out. This meeting today was 2.5 hours. Trump flew in the morning and flew out by 6. Like, what happened? These are important things. It should be like, it's like they had a press conference. They had a meeting for a little bit of time, a press conference, and he was gone. This shit is important. It is a big deal. I feel like it should take a long time. So anyway, Trump flew into Alaska this morning at noon. They met for 2.5 hours. They had a short press conference where Putin talked in Russian for like 30 minutes unbroken. And then Trump followed up by saying, yeah, we had a great meeting, very productive. Couple things we disagreed on, one big thing, but we'll figure it out. And then he flew back home. I'm not kidding. That's what happened. And one big thing, I assume, is the war, is the land, is who gets the land, Ukraine or Russia. It doesn't feel like much progress was made. However, I want to give you some larger context into, first of all, a couple weird things that happened right before the meeting, and then the meta that is determining, that all world leaders have now figured out. We talked about this in my predictions before Trump even came to power. He really, really, really wants the Nobel Prize. That is becoming ever more. It was already clear, but he really wants the Nobel Peace Prize. I guess because Obama got it, I don't know what, but Trump wants it really badly. So, I mean, going into this meeting, they had a couple calls, right? Trump said he wants to end the fighting as he promised. He said, he promised he'd end it in one day. It's been a little more than a day, but he wants to end the fighting in Ukraine. And I think his goal with that is to get the Nobel Peace Prize. And in recent months, the relationship, which started out, fairly good between these two, has soured a bit because Trump has grown frustrated with what he sees as Putin's reluctance to actually end the war. Putin has talked, he's taken calls, yada, yada, yada. He's extended, he's met, but there's no progress towards actually ending the war. Which, of course, everyone could have told you before you said it would be easy. Or he said it would be a day one thing. Of course, he's going to play whatever games are to his benefit. This meeting was supposed to be a way to get back on track and finally get things done, or it's going to be the final massive breakup, and Trump is apparently going to turn on all of the U.S.'s pressure. Zelensky was not invited to the meeting. However, Zelensky does like these nightly addresses to Ukraine. He said, we are counting on a strong American position in this meeting. Everything will depend on this. America has to put pressure on to end the war. Did Trump do that today? I don't think so, but that's what he said last night. Now, it is odd to not have Zelensky invited to this meeting, but I guess you could call it a step one, beginning of the cycle. But the real question is this, okay? The roughly current lines of how much Russia has taken in the war in Ukraine, which is about 20% of Ukrainian territory. And the question is going to come down to, if there is a ceasefire, does this land stay with Russia? Does it go back to Ukraine? Obviously, Zelensky would want every single ounce of this territory back to Ukraine. Obviously, Putin would want all of this and possibly more. Where does the line get drawn? And as much as these people all talk in circles about it, it feels like no one's willing to give an inch. And so I don't see an actual breakthrough being happening. But what was interesting is, given that Trump's priorities are actually not who gets what territory, he doesn't care. What's important to Trump is whether or not he gets a Nobel Peace Prize. And for that, all he needs is a ceasefire. Putin is beginning, I think, to learn how to play this meta. If Putin can give Trump a ceasefire that lasts until he gets a Nobel Prize, and then regroups, reinvades, retakes more, they both get their goals. And Zelensky gets nothing. And Zelensky is continually warning about this. He is continually saying Russia only respects a ceasefire when it benefits them. It will only last until Russia thinks they can gain advantage from attacking again, and they'll break it. They've done it in the past, and likely a ceasefire in the future, unless it's backed up by real concrete guarantees from Europe and America, will get broken again the second they regroup. The weird thing, the one thing that was non-standard, aside from everyone else recognizing the Nobel Peace Prize meta, wait, let me give you a little taste here. President Donald J. Trump is the president of peace. Worldwide calls for President Trump to receive Nobel Peace Prize. Prime Minister of Armenia, of Azerbaijan, of Cambodia, of Gabon, of Israel, of Pakistan, and of Rwanda, a real who's who of peace-loving countries, have all nominated Trump for the Nobel Peace Prize. And it turns out that, like, there's a conflict recently that flared up between India and Pakistan. It flared up, some planes got shot down, it could have gotten bigger, they negotiated a ceasefire, it has flared down a bit. Now, Trump was somewhat involved, but Trump walked away from that, saying like that he did it. Okay, that they were gonna start World War III, and I came in and I stopped it, and I deserve a Nobel Peace Prize. Now, India, which has been fairly tight with Trump, Modi, who's the leader of India, went to Houston, Texas, and did a Trump rally and said, you know, you have Make America Great Again, we have Make India Great Again, and together we're going to make everything great again, mega. Modi and Trump have been relatively tight, but India was like, well, no, you didn't do this ceasefire. It was basically us. You know, you shouldn't take credit for this. You didn't do much. Like, this was we figured this out. Okay, that's what they said. Once they said that, it pissed off Trump so much, so personally, that he has been nonstop since then, super aggressive towards India, undoing 20 years of an American goal of getting closer with India. It's been an American strategic objective, even through first Trump administration, to get real tight with India because it's a counter to China. And he, ever since that, has been 50% tariff on India, calling India's economy dead, insulting Modi. And when he does these things, India internally, like Modi, can't turn the other cheek because then he loses face internally. It's bad for nationalism. So this one action is like unraveling the India-US alliance. For the first time in 7 years, Modi is going to visit Beijing. He's visiting Xi Jinping, which again wasn't happening. But the second part is that Pakistan sees an opportunity to, get more influence with the US and drive a wedge between India and the US. And so the leader of Pakistan immediately nominated Trump for the Peace Prize. Like, they've played it perfectly. They recognize what's going on. Like, what I'm just saying is a lot of countries are recognizing that if they need something from America, they can just nominate him for the Peace Prize and get his favor. Because right now, just being real, our government is being operated less like a series of like strategies and rules and more like a royal court. It's being operated like a royal court with a king. The whims of one man determine the direction of America. Like, if he's mad at something, we are aggressive against them. If he's happy with something, they get the better benefits. It's very Louis XIV. So people are learning to exploit that. Whether it's, Tim Cook bringing a gold bar to the office and like flattering Trump so that Apple can get lower tariffs, or it's Pakistan nominating for the Nobel Prize so they can drive a wedge between India and America. This stuff is happening. It's all getting played. It's all the geopolitical meta is evolving. So anyway, in this game of unexpected people nominating Trump for the Nobel Prize, an old challenger has appeared to say something really unexpected. Hillary Clinton nominated Trump for the Nobel Prize today, with some caveats.
He is not meeting with a friend. He is meeting with an adversary, and an adversary who wants to see the destruction of the United States and the Western alliance. But if he could bring about the end to this terrible war, where Putin is the aggressor, invading a neighbor country, trying to change the borders. If he could end it without putting Ukraine in a position where it had to concede its territory to Putin, to make it clear there must be a ceasefire, there will be no exchange of territory, and that over a period of time, Putin should be actually withdrawing. If President Trump were the architect of that, I'd nominate him for a Nobel Peace Prize.
Okay, so the strategy here from Hillary is obvious. You know how if you want to bait somebody to do something, you're like, oh, you don't want to do it, you're chicken? It's kind of like the reverse of that. You're basically saying like, wow, if Trump were to make a deal with Putin where all of Ukraine got all their territory back and he didn't concede anything and he stood up to him, well, then I nominate him. I see the strategy here. The idea is to like try to convince Trump to have more of a spine against Putin by thinking he could win the Nobel Prize that way. I get the strategy. Here's the problem. I think what Trump is going to take from this is he just heard the word ceasefire and Nobel Prize. And then he's going to take the narrative and run with it. He's like, even Hillary said I should get it. Okay, I got a ceasefire. The follow-up part about like, giving the territory back, and I don't think he's going to hear that part. I think he's just going to run with it, and he's going to say, even Hillary said I should have it. Someone asked him what he thought about Hillary saying that, but they cut down what she said. So he hasn't even seen what she said.
Azerbaijan, Congo, Rwanda. In fact, did you see that Hillary Clinton yesterday said that if you got this deal done and not capitulate to Putin, that she would nominate you for the Nobel Peace Prize?
That was very nice. I may have to start liking her again.
That's all it takes. Bro, scream lock her up for 8 years straight, and then she nominates you for the prize, maybe, with caveats. Oh, I like her again. So that's just the world we find ourselves in. This Nobel Peace Prize. I know you think maybe I'm Trump derangement syndroming or something. I'm exaggerating. I promise you, dude. There's Republican sources saying that. Like, John Bolton, who was Trump's national security advisor, was on Fox News saying, like, the key thing here is the Nobel Prize. Like, that is his goal. That is what he plans his foreign policy around. It's not just one thing. That is like the key thing he is pushing for. And everyone now knows it, and so the meta is changing.